Hi, welcome to episode 198 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter, Fluffy K on Ravelry. I blog at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where this episode and every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, and we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. Hi, how are you? It is Sunday, September 2nd. We are enjoying a long weekend in the United States, so I have one more day off work. I finished my day job this week, so I am starting the new job this week, and I am going to be an account manager with Stitchcraft Marketing. I will be working with knitting and yarn clients and a variety of other creative businesses, and I am super excited to get started. This will be my first week full-time with them, and so my workstation is ready to go and I'm ready to get started. This past week was crazy, trying to finish out and clean out and leave. I will be helping my old job just a little bit in the coming weeks, but I'm pretty much off to new adventures, which is exciting for me. This weekend we are mostly laying low. We have done some exercising and some going out to eat, but otherwise we are hanging out around the house, and I have taken the opportunity to start a bunch of projects. So I have lots of knits and spins to show you. The other thing I was noticing is that 198 is awfully close to 200 episodes, which I can hardly believe because when I started this, I had no idea how long I would go on. And so I am thinking and putting some things together for a 200th episode. So there will be a giveaway of some sort. Haven't decided exactly what yet, but stay tuned because that will be coming. So let's get started with the podcast. I am absolutely not rushing the Christmas holidays. However, I looked at my Downton Abbey mug today and I went ahead and pulled my Downton Abbey Christmas tea. It is kind of Christmas related, but it's mostly mulling spices with black tea, so I think it's fall related too. So like I said, I am not rushing Christmas, but I did feel like Christmas tea today. This is from the Republic of Tea, Downton Abbey Christmas tea, and then my Downton Abbey mug. For a while they did these at Costco on Black Fridays, and I ended up getting mine off of eBay. That's where you'd have to get yours today too, although my assumption is someone somewhere will do Downton Abbey mugs, but this is my Downton Abbey mug with my Downton Abbey tea. And this is one of my favorite teas. I keep thinking I should stock up on it because sooner or later they'll probably decide that Downton Abbey has been gone for long enough that they should go ahead and stop making the tea, and then I will be very, very sad. So let's talk about the knits. Gosh, that's good. I just love that one. Let's talk about the knits. So the only thing you have seen before that I did work on this week, while I was waiting for September 1st to come around, was I worked on my Pismo Beach pullover. This is a sweater by Amanda Schusinger, and I cast this on a couple months ago and then put it down in order to knit some other things in August. And I cast it on in July. I'm just trying to, I knotted this and it's a slip knot, but there it goes. And I was going to do this as a sleeveless pullover, and I'm not sure whether I'm still going to make it sleeveless or not, but you can see I am still progressing. Basically, the instructions are keep going until 19 inches from the back hem, and the back hem is slightly longer than the front hem, but it is not 19 inches yet. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple pullover with a little lace repeat. It's 4 rows of lace. Somehow I have managed to muck that up in various parts, and I have not ripped back, so you don't have to look too closely. It's not perfect. Hopefully nobody will notice but me in some of the spots. But yeah, so it is a nice, it's a lightweight pullover. Obviously it will be kind of drapey and have lots of holes because of the lace in it. I will wear it over a tank top or something, and I just have not decided whether I'm going to put the long sleeves on it or leave it short sleeved. The pattern calls for long sleeves, and I saw a couple short sleeve versions and fell in love with them and kind of wanted to do that, and now I don't know. I should have enough yarn to do either way, So we'll see, but I would guess I have a little bit over a foot, so I probably have maybe between 3 and 5 more inches to go before it can split for the fronts and backs. So I'll still be working on that in my spare time, and the monitor, or at least what I'm seeing, is not doing this color justice. It is this beautiful metallic teal, and every time I work on this in public, somebody says something about it. The other night, I had like 3 people stop by and say, wow, that yarn color is amazing. The yarn itself is really nice. It's called Katia Air Luxe. Or Air Luxe, and it's in the teal colorway. I got it from Webs. It is a merino, or it is a wool and viscose, so it is kind of drapey. It's kind of fuzzy as well, and I guess because of the fuzz, they're calling it, I can't remember whether it's a sport cage or what. Let me pull the, here is one of the tags. But the balls have incredibly generous yardage. It is 70% viscose, 30% wool, and 328 yards per 50 grams. So probably well, that puts it at a fingering weight, but I think it's thicker than that because of all the fuzz. I think it's technically a sport weight, but well, let me see. I have the pattern here. What does it call for? What does it call for? I guess it calls for fingering weight. Yarn weight is 2. So yes, that's fingering weight. So yeah. So, and the yarn it calls for was an alpaca linen. So, I feel like my viscose wool is probably approximately, the right thing, even if it's not the same. It's got a split hem. So the front hem is the short little bit, and then the back hem is just a little bit longer. Anyway, so that's what I've got. That's what I've been working on. I am nearing the end of, I can't even remember if this is the first or the second ball. I'm thinking probably the second, but I don't really see the ends in here, so maybe it is the first. It must be the first. So yeah, yardage goes far. Anyway, so that is what I am working on, and you have seen that one before. Like I said, it was on my needles in July, but I've just been working on it more this week. So let's talk about more what I've cast on this weekend. The first thing that I have cast on is I have cast on my sweater for the Brown Sheep Fall Sweater Knit Along, and that I am hosting in my group. It is sponsored by Brown Sheep, and they are generously offering up a prize, and the rules are pretty simple. You can knit or crochet a sweater, any size sweater, any sweater pattern. The only rule is that you must use a Brown Sheep yarn to knit along with us and to be eligible for prizes. There are a few people who have decided to do sweaters in other yarns, and they're just knitting along with us for fun. They're more than welcome to do that. Like I said, unfortunately, you won't be eligible for prizes if you don't use Brown Sheep yarns, but Brown Sheep has a million yarns. I have been using the Prairie Spun DK in my sweater. I also recently worked with the Stratosphere, which is their new superwash base in DK. They have all the Lamb's Pride in the worsted and bulky. They have cotton fleece. They have a million, they have the Nature Spun yarns. So there are a million yarns to choose from, and at least in the United States, they are available pretty regularly online and in local yarn stores. I believe Webs carries some of them as well, so you could go for volume discounts. The Knit Along, Crochet Along runs from September 1st through November 30th in order to give you time to finish your sweater. So if you have not joined us, you really, really, really should. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then Brown Sheep is donating as a grand prize a sweater's quantity worth of Lamb's Pride yarn. And then we also have some prizes from Eucalan and from Knitter's Pride, and so I will be talking more about those as time goes on, and then I'm going to award some prizes, probably pattern prizes. So please join us. It would be a great way to get kick-started into fall. So I'm going to segue into what I'm knitting because I cast on yesterday. So I showed you last week my swatch. I am knitting Humulus by Isabel Kramer, and that is a pullover in DK weight that has a great yoked pattern. This is just part of the yoked pattern that I did for my swatch to see if I got gauge. Last week I talked about these and said I didn't know what they were, and a kind viewer of the podcast told me that Humulus is the word for hops. So hops, like as in beer, and the flowers. And so these, the pattern is supposed to emulate hops. So that is what it is, because I was saying I don't know if they're acorns or exactly what they are, but it is hops. So thank you, Maureen, for giving me that heads up. I'm very excited. I feel a little silly that I didn't know that, but thank you. And so that is what I'm doing. So yesterday I cast on, and the sweater is worked top down in the round. And I got myself ready to get to my colorwork section. So this is all scrunched up on the needles because I'm still in a 24. I'm going to have to move up. But basically the first part of the pattern is the cast on with the ribbing at the neck. And then there is some increasing of stitches, and also the sweater calls for short rows at the back neck so that there's a little bit more fabric at the back neck than at the front neck, just so that the sweater fits nicely. And I got through, like I said, all the cast on and then all those shaping rows, and right now I am ready to start the color work. So that is what I'm going to do this evening. And unfortunately, after the color work, the sweater is just pretty basic. It's a plain sweater all the way down to the hem. And then you can put little color bands on the sleeves if you want, which I think I will do. But it's all the fun work is up front, and then it's just the basic work getting yourself a sweater. I am using, like I said, I don't have it with me. I am using Brown Sheep, their Prairie Spun DK, which is a nice, it's I believe a 3-ply. It is a really nicely spun yarn, a little bit rustic, but pretty soft, and I really enjoy working with it. This is the Rain Cloud colorway, which is a nice heathered kind of oatmeal gray. And then the other color that I'm working with is the pink, and that is Coneflower. So it's coming across this kind of burgundy. It's a little bit more magenta, I think, than it comes across, but it is a very purple pink. So anyway, so that is the section that I will do next, and I will probably be done with the color work by the time I see you next. The chart is 35 rows, so I imagine it won't take me longer than a week to do that. And then, like I said, I will just be working down the body and the sleeves. And so I'm going to work on this and enjoy this month, and be ready for fall when it gets here. So I would love to see what you're working on. There is a tag. I want to say it is CKT Brown Sheep Sweater 2018, but it is in the thread, and I will put it in this episode's show notes so you can see it if you want to see it. And I have been watching on Instagram, and now Instagram has that thing where you can follow a tag, so I've been following the tag, and I'm hoping to see lots of people working on fall sweaters. So, and then the final thing I should say about the knit along is if you're knitting a sweater for some other project, you are certainly welcome to double and triple dip. As I said, the only real rule is that it's got to be brown sheep yarn for it to count for prizes. So that is what I'm working on there. I did not have a current pair of socks on the needle, so I decided to start another pair of socks. This past week I was doing some work for a client. The client is Zen Yarn Garden. They are in Canada, and they are releasing some sock blanks, and I believe they're going to go live on Zulily this week, so I will see if I can find a link and add that in my show notes. And they have started dyeing sock blanks, and their sock blanks are absolutely gorgeous. This won't... The format it's in now won't do it justice. I did a tutorial on how to work from a sock blank, and so I used like all the different ways you can work from the sock blank, which is you can pull from it and work with the yarn looking a little like ramen. You can wind it into a ball, or you can wash the yarn if you prefer not to knit with the yarn that has already been in a fabric. So I actually washed it so that I could show how it was done. So now mine is just in a ball, and of course it doesn't really show you the sock blank. So the sock blank is a single stranded sock blank, and at least my particular sock blank was dyed with one color at one end and one color at another end. So the first end was purple and kind of fading into black in the middle and then fading out to blue. So my socks are going to be completely different. Normally I say that a lot of sock blanks, the socks are fraternal. I'm not even sure these are going to look fraternal because each end of the sock blank was basically a different color. So, but they go together because they're from the same sock blank. And I am using the Blueberry Waffles pattern, which is by, hang on, I wrote it down, Sandy Turner. It's called Blueberry Waffle Socks. There may be other socks like this, but this was just the one I pulled. Her pattern is actually for DK, so I just adapted it for my stitch count on my fingering needles. I am using my Zings, US 0. Those are Knitter's Pride Zings, and zeros, like I said, and I'm doing 60 stitches, and this is the first part of the sock, which is the dark, dark blue going into a slightly lighter blue, and where not as much dye got into the fabric, so there's a little bit more white. And as you can see, I'm coming up on a lot more blue and white. And then I will probably get into some of the black, so the foot will probably be black. And like I said, you probably can't see it too well. Well, you can sort of see it there. That's the Blueberry Waffles texture pattern. Pretty simple 4-row repeat. Doesn't mean I haven't managed to screw it up a couple times. But, simple pattern. I wanted something other than a plain vanilla sock because I just wanted a little something to hold my interest. And I love these because these socks end up so squishy. So I have maybe another inch or two on my cuffs, and then I will work towards my heels and foot. I don't knit my cuffs super long because my feet aren't super long, so then they look out of proportion. And then I have to worry about my calves getting bigger, and you don't want to hear it. Anyway. First sock, working on it, enjoying to see how it works up. And then the second sock I may actually work from the beginning of the ball because I was thinking it might be nice to have the purple on the second sock and then just work towards the black at the center. So, and it's not like completely black at the center. There's hints of blue and hints of purple, but I was thinking it might be nice to have the bright bits in my socks. And then I don't know what I'll do with the leftovers. I could knit the kids some socks, although if I use all the bright bits in my socks, then maybe it won't be that interesting to them. Anyway, the colorway is called Midnight Stroll, and the other interesting thing about the colorway is there is a shawl designed for the colorway. It is a one skein shawl, and it looks really cool going from blue all the way through to purple, or purple all the way through to blue. So Zen Yarn Garden, highly recommend. I enjoy their yarn. This is their super fine fingering weight yarn, which is 90% merino and 10% nylon. Super soft. Hoping it will wear well in socks. I have knit with it before, but not in socks. And I think I said it was called Midnight Stroll. So that is what I'm working on there. And finally, because I was just cast on all the things, I worked on all 4 projects yesterday. I did like a few rounds on my sweater, and then I went and did all of these. I cast on for a hat for Roxy. And I'm using the leftovers from her sweater, which is the Treasure Goddess Treasure Warmth Worsted, and it is in the Song of the Sirens colorway. And I'm doing something called the Copycat Beanie by Emily Ingrid, and this is it so far. You can't see very much. It's a 1x1 twisted rib, and then it's got some repeat patterns of stockinette, garter, and ribbing, and I think it will be super cute. It's going to be a little bit of a slouchy beanie, and then a pom-pom, of course. And I have a decent amount of the yarn left over, right around a skein, and I still need to put the buttons on her cardigan and do some button loops, but I should have enough to do a hat and that. So that is what I am working on. So that's 3 new knits and 1 old knit, and I think those will keep me busy this month. I do have some more sock yarn, so I'll have another pair of socks for next month. And then I don't know what else. I have a million things I want to knit. I have that hand spun, particularly all those minis that I spun up. I want to do a cowl with those. I have some yarn wound up for a shawl, a brioche shawl. I'm also going to do a small brioche project for a client, so you'll be seeing that. And those are my knits. So let me take a sip of tea, and then I will go through the spins. So, although it was finished, I guess maybe I didn't finish it completely until after we talked last time. I finished my Beelzebubs and Monsters. This is 8 ounces of Hello Yarn Polworth, and it is in pinks and purples and browns, and it is just gorgeous. And I finally wound it off yesterday, and it's still wet, but it's beautiful looking. And I think this is actually going to go to a friend. So this one will not go in the shop, but this one was a great spin, and I really, really enjoyed it. So that one is done. This one is almost done. This is the braid I showed you a couple weeks ago. This is the most current Well, it's not the most current because actually she just came out with spoilers for this month, but I certainly won't spoil that. This was last month's Hello Yarn Club colorway. It is greens and yellows on Tarhi, so it's probably going to puff up. And she called this Overgrowth, and I have been thinking of it as lemongrass because it's got all of these yellows and like lemon lime, and it should be really, really pretty all plied up. And that actually will be going in the shop, so you can keep an eye on Instagram for that. I'm planning to ply it tonight, wash it tonight, and then hopefully Tuesday or Wednesday that should go up in the shop. So, and that'll be 4 ounces and I don't know, probably around 300 yards. We'll have to see what I get. But that is what's going on. So then the final thing that I want to show you is, of course, what I'm going to spin this week. And I laugh because, so I've been cleaning out my craft room and turning it into an office, and I keep finding things that I didn't know I bought, or didn't remember I bought would be better. And I bought this, the invoice was still tucked in with it, and I bought this in 2012. I know, it's absolutely crazy. I'm a poster child for having too much fiber in your home that you don't remember what you bought in 2012, which was 6 years ago. I bought this fiber, which is Nest Fiber Studio Block Party on Falkland. So that's the label. And then I will pull it out so you can see it. It is, again, pinks and purples and oranges and blues, and it is gorgeous. And I love Nest Fiber. I went kind of crazy and I bought a whole bunch of fiber from her, and it was all in this one box that I hadn't opened in a while. So I decided to pull something out and spin it for this week. So this is Nest Fiber Block Party, and that is what's going to go on my wheel this week. So I guess that is about all I have for you. I hope that you have had a lovely week. I'm still thinking about doing a studio tour. I know I say that every week. I just haven't gotten to cleaning. I'm thinking this week is going to be the week because this is my first week at home. And so I should have some time to spend, and I might actually spend some time tomorrow with my extra day off this week. So I hope that you have had a wonderful week. I hope that you're going to join us in our knit and crochet along. So I definitely hope to see you over there. And until I see you again, I will say happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.